Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome to the Ramble. Now, the Ramble is basically going to be a weekly series, probably on Sundays, where I talk about things that interest me. It could be gaming related or football related or stuff in the news or YouTube-y stuff or anything in between. And today, we are going to talk about video assistant referees, or VAR, as they're now called. VAR, as the crowds like to chant. So I've watched a few games with VAR. I'm a Liverpool fan, so obviously I was watching the West Brom game, and before anyone accused me of biasness, all the VAR decisions went in Liverpool's way, despite the fact we were rubbish and we lost. But so in this video, I'm going to discuss what I think of the VAR system and the testing that's going on, and just generally whether I think it should go forward, should be a thing in football. And obviously this is everybody's going to have a different idea of what's to do with this. Some people love it. It's like some people I want the correct decision. Don't care what everyone else. As long as the game gets the correct decision, that's right. And that's exactly how I thought when they were talking about introducing VAR. I thought, yep, I want it. I want right decisions. Simple as that. Okay, it might take a minute or so, but if we get the right decision, I'm all for it. And after watching it maybe 3 or 4 games in the League Cup and the FA Cup, I'm on the total other side of the fence. I hate it. I really hate it. And there's a bunch of reasons why. And I'm just sort of talk you through sort of my ideas, and I'd like to hear yours in the comments. Like I say, I get it. Some people are going to think it's great. Some people are going to be not sure. So the first thing is the break-up in play that takes part. We love football because it's an ongoing game, you know. An American football game is 2.5 hours long, and apparently there is actual 7 minutes of game time that actually goes on in 2.5 hours, which is amazing. And the opposite end of the spectrum is football, where it's pretty free-flowing, unless there's an injury or something like that. So it just seems to stop the game. And I know, obviously, it's in the testing phase, so it's taking a little bit longer. It took sort of 4 minutes the other night. But then in other countries where they've used it lots more, the average, now they've got used to it, is 2 minutes. And I still feel like 2 minutes is far too long, especially because there's no way at the moment of telling anybody in the crowd what's going on. At least in cricket, when there's a decision and they challenge it, you see on the board and it's like, oh, is he going to go? Oh, not out. And that makes it quite exciting. But there's also lots of stoppages in cricket already. So that's not... It feels like it just brings the game down a bit. It slows the game down. It kills the atmosphere at the games. So I've got a page here. I'll put up some images over there about when is VAR used. So goals. The role of the VAR is to assist the referee in determining whether there was an infringement that means a goal. The problem with the one with goals is that, okay, let's say there's a corner. Ball comes in, Bosch heads it in, crowd goes nuts, but then realises, oh, hang on, VAR. So instead of in the crowd or at home on the couch going nuts because your team has scored, that's taken away by the fact it's like, oh, hang on, just wait a couple of minutes and we'll find out if we're going to score. Come on then. It splinters the goal celebration up, and then it's never really the same afterwards. And penalty decisions and such like, and red card incidents, and the other thing they use it for is mistaken identity. And it works both ways. So the referee can request the guy that's VAR to look at it, and the VAR guy can just pop in his ear and say, hey, mate, you fucked that one up. And there's a bunch of other reasons, as well as sort of disrupting the game. I think if they're going to use it, if they're going to go with it, they have to have a system where the fans can know what's going on, rather than the ref just doing that. Another problem is that fans, that managers, that players are all starting, despite being told not to, because, you know, of course they're going to, they're starting to ask the referee, or from the stands, they're shouting to the referee, VAR, they're doing this. Oh, review it, ref, review it. And that's going to happen every time there's a penalty shout. They're going to say, go review it. And that's just, it could be just because I'm so very old, but that to me is horrible. And that's not football. And I get obviously why it's going to think about being introduced. I totally get the correct decisions. I think I'm a lot less harsh on referees. Yes, there are a couple of bad referees, but refereeing is a nigh on impossible job. You might see a corner go in and somebody get pushed and you're like, how can the fucking referee not spot that? Well, he's got to look at 17 different things at the same time. He's got to look at his lino, the other guy. He's got to look at the goalkeeper. He's got to look at the guy challenging that guy, and that guy challenging that guy, and that guy hanging on to that guy. So even if it's quite an obvious fall or something like that, quite often the referee's is looking at millions of different things. I think, so I get why people want it introduced, but it's... Oh, I just don't like it. I just don't think it's football. I think I'd rather deal with wrong decisions, occasional wrong decisions, and have a free-flowing game of football. And I know it's like, oh yeah, but there's so much money in the game now, it has to be correct and stuff like that. Well then, you could take it to its nth degree. At the moment, it's goals, penalty decisions, and red card incidents. But if you're one in the camp that I just want the right thing, the right decision regardless, do you then want... Well, surely it should be for every incident then. If you want the right decision, surely it should be for every incident that it should be reviewed to make sure you get the right decision. And another thing with the referees is that it's got to be hard not to use VAR as a referee, because you get so much fucking shit from the players, from the crowd, from everything else, that if you can take it out of your hands as a referee, if I'm refereeing and there was a penalty shout, I'm always going to go VAR. Why not? Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you make your best guess as a referee and possibly get talked shit about in the papers and all the fans and stuff if you can just go and ask the guy that's sitting in a little office? And also, apparently, it's just one guy. And then, but that guy, I would have assumed the best way to do VAR, at least if you're going to do it, would have like a group of 3, say, ex-referees or FIFA dudes, because they need to discuss. And another thing is, like, we've all seen every game you'll see on Match of the Day, there'll be at least one decision where they'll talk about a Match of the Day, and it'll be like, they all disagree. They can see it from every camera angle, in every slow-mo, speedy, satellite images, infrared, and they'll go, I think it was a penalty. And the other guy will go, no, I don't think it was a penalty. So in that incident, VAR's not really going to help if it's so on the line, because a lot of the decisions are not clear-cut. Oh, he got a tiny touch, but he went down easy. Is that a penalty? Is that not? No. That's the problem. If the rules were really clear-cut, and in every game you could clearly see that was a penalty, or that was a not, or that was a so-and-so, or that was a not, then yeah. But because so many of these decisions are already argued about, when you can see all the camera angles and the replays and stuff like that, having VAR, having a guy in a booth, that's just his opinion, as opposed to what the referee's opinion or whoever else's opinion. Do we crowdsource an opinion and then go with a percentage, do a vote live on Twitter? Was that a penalty? We just have to wait 5 minutes for the poll results coming from Twitter. There's too much of the game that's grey area anyway, that I feel like it doesn't really massively help in that regard. There's clear things that it really does help for. Like, I love goal line technology. It's a simple thing where you go, boom, goal line technology. It's a goal. It's not. It crossed the line. It didn't. Brilliant. And maybe that could be used for, say, offsides from goals. Because that's offside. You're offside or you're not. You're level. You're not offside. You're offside. It's easy to see in a replay if somebody's offside. But when we're talking about a little shove or a trip or a dive or all this stuff that can be interpreted 100 different ways by 100 different people, then VAR, that one extra guy, is going to interpret it his way. We've seen how referees, professional good referees, will interpret the rules differently. How sometimes a tackle early on in the game won't be a yellow card, despite it being clearly a yellow card, but because it's early on, he's just trying to calm it down and he's giving him a warning. But if he did the exact same tackle in the 80th minute, he'd give him a yellow card for it. There's so many stuff that's grey in football anyway that I think it doesn't make it work. The obvious thing to then say was, okay, so if VAR is not going to work, what do you do? And for me personally, and I think that the way forward is firstly to have, like in rugby, all referees should be mic'd up so they can hear. So it doesn't have to be public like stuff, but at least FIFA can hear the shitty abuse that the referees get Think of Wayne Rooney every time he gets a free kick against him. He is giving it all this shit towards the referees so they can crack down on that sort of stuff, and players going asking for yellow cards and all this abuse that the referees get. And also, I think we just need to cut referees a bit more slack. It's a really hard job. It's really, really hard. Because, like you said, what you see is a obvious dive that guy did. Well, the referee might be blocked by players. He might also be keeping half an eye on the guy over there, half an eye on the guy over there. And I think we just need to give him cut him a bit of slack, to be honest. It's an impossible job. The only people that want to be referees are I'm not going to say his name. I know quite well a professional referee, and he is the sort of person, I'm trying to word this friendly, you have to have a certain personality type to want to be a referee, because if you're a normal person, why would you want to be a referee? You don't earn a shit ton of money, you get abuse from all fans, from all places, from every direction, all the time. Imagine going to work each day and having all your work scrutinised by thousands of people on Twitter and Facebook and everything, and on telly and in newspapers about how shit you are. It's a horrible, horrible job. And that, I think people would need to realise that, yes, there are a couple of really bad referees, and that should be looked upon. But I think if we give the referees a bit of a break and give, when something that's obviously bad that the referee's done, of course, that they should be demoted, etc., etc. But when it's just general refereeing stuff, the fans should give them much less abuse and stuff, because if referees become a cooler thing to do, then more good referees will come into the system, because they'll go, actually, I quite enjoy refereeing, but I wouldn't do it because I just get abused by 20,000 fans. If it was not that way so much, you'd have better people coming through and more people coming through, so therefore you'd get a better top level of refereeing. And I think that has to be the case. But with VAR itself, like I said, it could be just because I'm very old school and old, and I don't see it fitting football, even if, like they said, it speeds up. But at the moment, even sped up, it's still roughly, on average, 2 minutes, they said. I just feel like that breaks up the game too much. Your team score, but you can't celebrate because you've got to wait 2 minutes for the little guy in the little room to watch the TV to decide if it's a goal or not before you can celebrate your team scoring a goal is just... it's just bad. And like I said, in an ideal world, the referees would use it, once a game maybe, just very occasionally when they're really not sure, right? But there's two reasons that that's a problem. One is that the VAR man can go to the referee. It's not just the referee saying, "Hey, VAR man, can you have a look at this one?" It's the guy can go to you and say, "Actually, mate, you made a fuck up there." So you've always got somebody in your ear. Also, as a referee, why would you not use the system anytime you can? Because it's like a get-out-of-jail-free card of making a wrong decision. Any penalty incident, if I'm a referee, I'm saying, yeah, VAR that. Make sure we get it right. I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to get abuse online and offline in streets when I'm at local Asda getting abuse. It would be lovely if it was a thing that only occurred once a game, or just very rarely, once every other game. But it won't be. Because why wouldn't you use it as a referee? Because it stops you making a fool of yourself, stops you getting abuse from the crowd. You can blame the guy that was in the little VAR tent that way. And also, I think the clubs... Isn't it that the clubs have to pay for it themselves? The same as goal line technology. If you're going to introduce stuff like that, then it needs to be introduced everywhere and paid for by FIFA or the FA or whoever. Or just Man City. They've got a load of money. Man City can pay for it. Because that's also a bit tough as well. And then it's different for referees. If you're refereeing in the League one day, you've got no help whatsoever, and then you're refereeing in the Premier League, and suddenly, oh yeah, we got all the help you need. Just talk to the little guy in your ear; he'll sort you out. I think there's too many decisions that are 50-50. That if you asked 5 experts, you'd get 3 of them saying one, 2 of them saying the other, and arguing till they're blue in the face that it was... And that's after seeing all the replays and the slow motion and the angles and all that sort of stuff. And VAR doesn't fix that at all. It's just one guy's opinion that's not the referee, another old referee. So I would like some sort of system that maybe could be introduced that fixes offside traps. So, like, as soon as a goal goes in, it is a goal, and then you can have someone, because it's so quick to be able to do that, just to look at a replay, you've got the lines on the pitch to see if it's an offside or something like that, to fix those obvious errors and stuff. But much like goal line technology, where it's cut and dry, as this is the correct answer. Something, maybe a system like that, because that would take 10, 15 seconds. That's not too bad. But I'm quite happy with, I preferred football. Like I said, I'm not being biased, because in the Liverpool-West Brom game, it all went in Liverpool's favour. We got a penalty because of VAR. They had a goal disallowed because of VAR. So I don't care that it's for or against my team. It was for our team that day, but I'm not a fan of it. And I know lots of people are, and I totally understand the reasoning, because they just want the right decision. But then it's not always going to be the right decision, even with VAR. And then everybody's going to go mental when they disagree with the VAR guy saying, oh, well, he's watched it 7 times. How can he say that? I believe he dived. It's still going to be argued about. It's not going to change any of those things. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys. I'd love to see your sort of feedback, or if you like it, then tell me why. If you don't like it, tell me why. But also explain, how could they do it? What would be the best? If you were the boss of FIFA or FA or whoever, how would you implement it? Or would you implement any of it at all and just go, no, stay with the referees? I'd love to know in the comments. Thank you very much for listening to me waffle for a bit. I just have to get it on my chest. That game was a fucking shit show. I felt sorry for the people in the crowd. It killed the atmosphere. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Next week, I think this will become a regular series, The Ramble. It could be something totally different next week. Could be about Logan Paul being a dickhead, or Liverpool being shit. Well, that's not really news, is it? All right, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.